I am deeply grateful to Venerable Bhikkhu Sangh Senaji and Venerable Bhikkhu from Bangalore, who personally came to Patna to invite me to this gathering at the closing of 20th International Tipitaka chanting ceremony here under the sacred Bodhi tree, the very seat of Lord Buddha's enlightenment. Here we have bhikkhus, bhikkhunis and devotees from many countries. I welcome our guests and wish them very comfortably stay here in Bodh Gaya. For 10 consecutive days, venerable monks, nuns and devotees have assembled in unity to chant the holy Pali canon at this most hallowed site. As we conclude this year's sacred observances, I applaud the Light of Buddha Dhamma Foundation International and International Tipitaka Chanting Council, whose vision and devotion have nurtured this ceremony from its modest beginning 20 years ago. What began with just 250, Mrs. Wangman Dixie was telling me that the first assembly began with just 250 participants in 2006. It has now blossomed into one of the most significant global Buddhist assemblies, drawing nearly 20,000 devotees from 22 Buddhist nations. This remarkable growth, achieved without interruption over 2 decades, reflects the tireless efforts of the organizers, the generosity of the donors, the devotion of the volunteers, and above all, the unshakable commitment of the entire monastic community to preserving and transmitting Buddha Vachan to future generations. Bodh Gaya remains the sacred spiritual fountain of humanity. It is here that Siddhartha Gautama discovered the Four Noble Truths and attained supreme enlightenment more than 2,500 years ago. This land has inspired emperors, sages, and seekers of truth from across the world. From Emperor Ashoka, who visited Bodh Gaya in the 3rd century BC and erected some of the earliest monuments of Buddhist history, to modern pilgrims who continue to arrive in millions, Bodh Gaya stands as an eternal reminder of human thirst for wisdom, compassion, love, and peace. The prophet of the Indian Renaissance, Swami Vivekananda, has said in one of his speeches, he said, and I quote, "At the time Buddha was born, India was in need of a great spiritual leader, a prophet. But Buddha's teachings created a transformative impact not only in India but across the world. And even today, the intelligent and evolved minds are fascinated by what he taught more than 2500 years back. When we study Lord Buddha and his teachings, then we develop a strong feeling of veneration for him. His life is marked by exceptional boldness, fearlessness, wisdom, and compassion. He was unique in the sense that he did not seek truth for himself. Rather, he sought truth because he saw people in misery and he wanted to redeem them. How to help the suffering mankind, that was his only concern. Throughout his life, he never had a thought for himself. Buddha believed that man must go to work, help others, find his soul in others, find his life in others. Buddha inspired people to be men of action. He taught us that it is in our own interest to be good to others, and we must have control over our passions and desires. The Buddha does not ask us to accept anything on authority. He does not say, "Thus it is said," but "Thus have I felt or experienced." Pariksha bhikshavo grahyam madavacho natu gauravat. He asks us to accept his words after testing them. We are not to rely on any external support, but we should make our own self our support. The eternal law, Dhamma, our refuge. And he says, Apo Dipo Bhava, be your own light. The Buddha points to the way it is for each one of us to swelter at the task. The Buddha's authority, Mahapadesh, rests on his own personal experience. According to the legend, when he saw an old man, a dead man, a diseased man, and then finally a religious mendicant, he discovered poverty, pain, sickness, old age, and death. The shock of this discovery led him to renounce his luxurious royal home and become an ascetic. The affliction of the world roused the Buddha's compassion, karuna. The fallen and stricken state of the world at the deepest level of its being became a problem for him. He studied contemporary systems, consulted the great teachers of his time, and after disciplined meditation right here at this spot, he discovered the truth of things. The Buddha is he whose name is truth. Satcha Nam, what is real. Sat is the truth. Whatever is impermanent, asat is asat or unreal. For those who have eyes to see and the spirit to respond, the world in which we live is a world of birth and death, growth and decay, in which nothing remains and nothing is ever repeated. There is nothing stable, nothing permanent in this world. Marnam tam hi jivanam. What is the remedy for the mortality which is inherent in all composite things? the Buddha resolved to discover the secret of life eternal. So long as we cling to the contingent caused existence, that is Sanskirta, we are in bondage to time. But there is an uncomposite, asanskirta, an unborn, ajar, and uncaused, and immutable. If we know and realize it, we pass from death and rebirth to Nibbana or Nirvana or peace. The law of karma governs the world of objects of existence in the world of time, of cause and effect, and Nibbana relates to the world of freedom. Freedom of the subject which transcends the object of the center of being. If a man fails to transcend his existential limits, he is condemned to death, to nothingness. He must first experience the void, the nothingness, to get beyond it. When Buddha asks us to seek for liberation and strive for it, he affirms the reality of the world hereafter. He tells us that it is possible for us to circumvent the time and process and attain enlightenment. There is being by itself which transcends the time order. Existence is in being. Sansar itself is nirvana. Bodhi and enlightenment is a gnosis that cannot be communicated. It can only be experienced. Nirvana, which is freedom from subjection to time, can be achieved here in this life itself. Eternity are not incompatible, and this life is a point of intersection between time and eternity, sansar and nibbana. Our former president, Dr. Radhakrishnan, he spent all his life, more than 40 years in teaching. And he has made a remarkable comment in one of his speeches. He said that the major lesson which we can learn from the life of Buddha is that when you receive enlightenment, then you have a natural urge to serve the mankind, the humanity. Enlightenment is not for the self. Enlightenment is to serve the mankind, to serve the humanity, and have karuna, compassion for all beings. I am confident that this great gathering, which is spiritually elevating, assembly of very spiritual people, will create new awareness in us about these teachings of the great master, Lord Buddha. You have heard me with patience. Thank you very much. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Jai Hind, Jai Jagat.